Okay, welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about um I guess um cowardice in my relationship with identity, and that sounds like a really hefty thesis statement, but I promise you that it's not. I mean, kind of is, but it isn't, like an untouchable topic, I guess. Um and so what do I mean by cowardice and relationship with identity? Well, let me explain. Um, Cowardice I would define by fear and good action. Bad faith generally, doing or acting in a way that is not faithful to yourself or to the person you want to be in. Fears of acting differently from the vox populi and acting differently from, just people in general. And may that be acting in a negative fashion or a fashion that's not true to yourself. Either way, it's acting differently or in a manner such that you do not offend or you do not hurt yourself. And again, cowardice is, a manner of bad faith and a mechanism made out of fear. Because there's a lot of things happen in life. Cowardice is sprung of not passion but fear. Unfortunately so. As much as I would like to not be, not cave to cowardice, I still do. And though I've tried to work against it, it's not always foolproof. The things that you do don't always stop the relapses that you have. And I feel like relapse is a really strong word to define it now, but I'm going to use relapse in a sense that I am going back to a behavioral pattern that I just don't like. Which is a very loosey-goosey definition, and I feel like it could, it doesn't fully encapsulate the weight of the definition in its modern context, but purely as just a usage of the definition, this is what I am using the definition as. I wanted to say that very recently I have liked a girl, or not very recently. For 5 years I have liked a girl. And 5 years is a pretty long time to like a girl. But, at first it was a passing crush, oh, she's pretty. And then it kind of developed further. I never knew her that well, but if I knew her then I definitely would have liked her as I do now. Mainly because we actually liked a lot of the same things when we didn't know each other, and we thought very similarly when we didn't know each other, which I find very interesting. And I think that my feelings would have just intensified. So maybe it was better that I didn't know her. But essentially this girl, ooh, let's not go to Baby Zombie Town. I'm gonna go down here. Essentially this girl was, really beautiful, and I liked a lot of things about her. I liked very specifically the way she thought. I thought she was a very smart person. Or actually, I didn't know how smart she was. And I feel like I have a better idea now, but at the time of liking her, at the very beginning, I didn't really have an understanding of how smart she was. I just knew, hey, I like the way she thinks. I want to learn more about her. And I feel like that was the first time that I've experienced something that's very close to what love should be. And I wrote a lot, and I still do write a lot. And you know what, this is recent, so I shouldn't have to explain that I still do, but I wrote a lot about her. And I would write about myself in relationship to her. And I would often in my writings compare myself to something like a roach. Very often. Because I just thought that I lived on uncomparably different level to her. My experiences were unlike her experiences, and she was a wonderful person and I am not. And I think that is cowardice. I think that was me deciding out of fear who I am and who I will dictate myself to be, rather than letting someone, being vulnerable and letting someone decide that for me. And so, in effect, what I had done was I had been the first person to shut myself out of opportunity. An opportunity that would have been great for her to get to know me, and for me to get to know her. I would like to believe that I am a lovely person. I tell myself that I'm a lovely person in hopes that I will believe that I am a lovely person. But even if I'm not lovely, I know that I think about myself and I'm introspective. More so than most, I would hope. And that is one of the strengths about me as a person. And I don't know. I feel like someone who thinks a lot would be pretty cool to hang out with. Other than being, very introspective, I am an artsy person. So I have just, unparalleled amazing taste in music and in art, and I am super cool in the art world. But again, I let all these factors about me and myself be diminished by my own feelings of myself. And that was, I want to say that's one of the greatest sins I've ever made. Because I admonished myself for liking this girl. I berated myself, and I told myself I wasn't good enough. And a shot that I definitely could have had was ruined. And how is this cowardice, you ask? She just texted the girl that I'm talking about, just texted. That scared the shit out of me. How is this cowardice? It's cowardice because in the process of liking her, I actually went and helped out my friend, who also liked her. She's a very pretty girl. She does a lot of things I like. And most importantly, she's like that one Biba Doobie song. You can guess which song it is in the comments. And I'll not respond to any one of them. But if you get it right, I might heart your comment. I might pin it. Who knows? Please. Ouch. Anyways, so this girl is like brilliant and a genius, and I admire her deeply. And so what I did was I helped out my friend. I helped my friend to get to know her, get the answers that he wants. And now they are very close with each other. So it's not really getting to know her. I'm not as close with her as he is. But he to put it frank, he's like 4 out of 10. I'm really sorry for him. It's just because he's like super energetic and short. And he acknowledges it himself, but he's such a great person otherwise. Like I really love him. I love him so much. He's such a caring dude, and he might not be like fully aware of his surroundings. Like he was like, sometimes I'm scared that I overthink and I think too far into my actions and blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm so sorry, hon, but you really need to think a bit more. You're underthinking, actually. I didn't tell him this, obviously, but this is the first thought I had, and I feel really bad for him. I love him. And we are going to name him Brooks, because that's what I named him in my writing. His name is Brooks, and he's a great guy. And what I did was I helped him out. I was like, Brooks, I'll ask the things for you. Just tell me what you want to ask. I'll ask it naturally. And she probably won't suspect much. And he was like, I'm not sure. And I was like, just trust me. And so after a bit of convincing, I convinced him. This is important. I convinced him to let me help him. I convinced him to assist me in losing my chance, essentially, though he didn't know it. So this is, I think, cowardice in its plainest form, because I was looking for an escape from, doing the brave thing, which would be telling her or asking her to hang out more to get to know her more, possibly getting into a talking stage. What I did was the utmost form of cowardice, and I looked for an excuse to not do that. I looked for an excuse to get out of that responsibility. And it's not a responsibility to anyone but myself. And so, essentially, I took that away by helping out Brooks. And I think there was a little grain of salt in my mind, many grains of salt. I feel like by helping out Brooks, I knew what I was doing, but I also knew that there was a possibility. I knew Brooks wasn't going to get hurt. She acknowledges that too. She knows that Brooks. She told me that Brooks was never going to land her, and I really feel bad for Brooks because Brooks is such a sweet and caring guy. But she doesn't want Brooks, and so I knew that by helping out Brooks, could be doing a good thing while also still having a chance. But at the same time, I could be doing something good and taking away my chance. And I was kind of in this state of, oscillation of not really understanding where I wanted to be and still trying to make the decision. And so, yes, cowardice, but not full cowardice. And now I think what was full cowardice was having this other friend. He is a really cool dude. I haven't known him for as long, but I have a very positive perspective of everyone in my life, so I will call him cool anyways. We're going to call him Wayne. Why? Because I can. I don't have an explanation for this one. And so Wayne is this really cool dude. He's tall, and he does something that the girl that I likes. And this is where I realized I just lost my chance. And so what did I do? I told him that I couldn't help him anymore. Which is actually, the best thing that I could have done in that situation. I could have saying that I can't help you because, morally it's just not something that I could do for you, was actually the right choice. And, despite making that choice, I still continued to help him. And that was the problem with me. I made the choice not to help him. And what I did subsequently was still help him. I still helped Wayne. And I don't know why. And so I'm calling this subconscious cowardice. I wanted this girl. I really did. And what I did was I went against what I wanted for fear that she wouldn't want me back, and I helped someone else out. And I inevitably did something good because I think they're happy together. And my friend Wayne, he is very, very, very similar to me. Not exactly the same, but similar in a lot of ways, especially in personality. He is a lot more loud than I am, that is for sure. Not in a bad way, but in a way that is, very matter-of-fact, loud person. Where do I put this chest? He's just very extroverted, and I'm, not as extroverted, and that's okay. I can be not as extroverted. No one's gonna, get mad at me for that. But inevitably, in the end, there wasn't much that differed between me and Wayne. And I think that hurts a lot, because that tells me that if she got to know me, I may have had more of a chance. That also tells me that she may have just decided to like him based on looks. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how I can sell this to myself. I just know one thing for sure, and that is that it hurts. And this was my doing. I had almost every opportunity to tell myself, hey, this isn't what I want for myself. And I just neglect that. I just said no. I said I'm gonna do it anyway. And that's what killed the cat, I guess. I don't know the expression, but that's what happened to me. I said no. I helped someone else out, and I hurt myself. And I shouldn't have done that. And that's my struggle with cowardice. I'm scared to do something for myself to be rejected by other people. It's not unreasonable. It's something that happens to everyone. It's common. It's very common. But in my search for, becoming a better person and becoming, the best version of me, this is kind of the opposite of what I want. I'm not helping myself anymore. This isn't, Suba helping Suba. And I mean, if I told you I knew how to feel about it, I would be lying. But I guess I feel pretty damn bad. I've been trying a lot of things to ameliorate this feeling. One of these things is very contingent on looks and how I look. I've told myself this lie that if I look better, it will make me better as a person, or I'll become more confident, and then I'll be able to become better. And I don't know how much I believe that lie. I just don't feel like that's very true for me. And when I think about it, and when I think about what needs to be done to become me, I get scared. That's mainly because I don't know what needs to be done to become the person I want to be. And that's really scary, actually. Because until then, I am nobody and nothing at all. And I mean, I guess, or I get that being important isn't, everything, but I want to be me. I want to live, a life that is distinctly my life. That I can look back on and say, yeah, I was cool. I was cool at that time. And I'm not living out that life, and that makes me sad. I'm never sure how to feel about it. I feel kind of like I've been robbed by myself, by the way my parents parented me. But ultimately, at one point, it just becomes my responsibility to be better for myself. And I don't know, maybe I'm rambling, but I think the core issue is just cowardice. It's wanting to be someone you're not to please the public eye. One last example I have is today, one of my friends was being a dick, for lack of better words. He was being really rude, and he was, as I call it, named fashionably after my great and kind uncle, regging. It's like rage baiting, except done constantly, forever. It's like, it's very specifically like running water through stone. The stone doesn't, when you splash it with water once, the stone doesn't budge. It's a stone. But you splash it with water over and over and over again, and it's like, then it starts to erode. And it's like the type of rage bait that you just do forever. And it's annoying. Especially when you're in a very stressful environment. And so my friend, he was trying to rage bait me, and it was not fun. It was really rude, actually. He was just being insulting at the point. And I told him to stop. I would like to say that I am a very relaxed person, and I tend to handle my emotions pretty well, but this time I got just incredibly annoyed. And my friend, he just kept going. He just didn't stop. It wasn't the end for him. And eventually, when I got to the point, I just told him that I'm not doing this anymore. And first of all, I had to keep telling him to shut up because he wasn't being serious. But second, I had to say, I'm not doing this anymore. And I can't really walk away because I'm in class. But I just stopped. If that can explain anything. And I think what's important about this story was what happened next, and that's the person who was rage baiting me. We're gonna call him Greg, fashioned after my uncle and the term that I dropped earlier. We're gonna call him Greg, and we're gonna call this new person who just steps in, Santo. So Santo steps in, and Santo tells Greg to stop. And Greg doesn't stop. But Santo is always, like, not bully, I would say, but again, he's like me. He's, I guess, antagonized. And people are rude to him because they have said he looks, quote, chopped. And he doesn't look good. I won't argue with that. He doesn't look the best. He looks just average. And that's fine, actually. But people apparently have a problem with that. And he did one of the most brave things. I don't get along with Santo a lot, because Santo is he doesn't have a great sense of humor. I mean, he laughs at things, and he finds things funny. Finds a lot of things funny. He's just not, he's not comedic, When he makes jokes, they just don't land. They just come off as rude. But Santo steps in, and Santo's like, hey, stop. And I think that this is, one of the bravest things that you can do. By purposefully breaking the atmosphere, purposefully, putting your pride aside to help someone else out, Santo has done the strongest thing that anyone could do. He's helped another person out of his own goodwill. And then he took steps further to, cheer me up and make me feel okay, which didn't work. I'm a very stubborn person when I'm mad. Just, generally not a fun person to be around. I wouldn't be around myself if I were mad. I would die if I were around myself if I were mad. I don't like myself when I'm mad. I'm just obnoxious. I'm just rude to people, and it's not okay. But he was being very kind to me, and I think that I was thinking about, if I were in his position, what would I do? Would I do the same thing for other people? And the answer to that question was a resounding no. No, I wouldn't do the same thing for other people. No, I wouldn't act differently for other people. I would just do nothing. And I think that being the person who does nothing in that situation is just as bad as the person, committing the action. You have everything within you to stop that person. You have nothing to lose by stopping whoever's being rude, and you're not doing anything to stop it. And I feel like by not doing anything, like, that's really representative of my personality and who I am. And I think it scares me. It definitely doesn't feel good to have my identity eroded by cowardice. My sense of, improvement just stripped away. But at the same time, I think it's important for me to acknowledge that I am not perfect. I'm nowhere near. And so, may this video be my acknowledgement, I guess. If by putting this out there, I feel more confident in myself or whatever can help me become a better person, I hope it happens. I hope by putting this video out there, I become better. Because I don't want to be the way that I am. Actually, one last example, before I just end the video. One day I was walking and from just waking up, I was walking to school. And right in front of me, my teacher falls down on the stairwell. She's not the greatest teacher. In fact, I absolutely hate her method of teaching in her class. She falls down on the stairwell right in front of me. And what I did next was the worst thing that I could possibly do in my mind. And that was nothing. I just kept walking and acted like I never saw anything. And some senior just ran up to her. He said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And he helped her up. He gathered her things for her. And by this time, I was already at the other end of the school, running away. She's my first period class. And I thought to myself, and I kept thinking, man, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why didn't I help her out? She's my teacher. And I just felt, this immense sense of guilt. I felt horrible. And now I like to live by the guilt doesn't cure inaction, and guilt doesn't cure past action. I feel like that philosophy is a very fitting philosophy, and it makes it, feel a bit worse that I didn't do anything when someone else was hurt. That I won't, or am not likely to do anything when someone else is hurt. And that's just not who I want to be, and I hope that I change. I really do. But I don't think hope is gonna fix it. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Maybe one day I'll become a person that I enjoy. Maybe one day I'll become a person that I would like to be around. Maybe one day.